Good morning. This is Deepak. Today is Sunday and Sunday morning, and I am speaking to you from New York City. By the way, I was traveling from Albany to New York yesterday, and I took the train at 4:05 from Albany to Penn Station. And when I got to Penn Station, I realized that I was missing my wallet. So I realized that after I took a taxi. So I didn't have any money actually to pay the taxi cab, the taxi driver. We ended up about 3 blocks from my apartment when I realized that, and then the road was blocked also. And so the taxi driver was very kind, very sweet. He waited till I walked to my apartment and got $20 in cash from my wife, and then I went back and he was still there. So, there's a lot of trust in the world. So I did use my wallet before I went to the train station, and that is the platform, because I had to show my ID, which means that I probably left my wallet in the train. So I was sitting in business class on this train that left Albany at 4:05 and got to New York a little after 6:30. If anyone finds that wallet, please let me know, or let my office know, or just hopefully somebody has it. Nothing in the universe gets lost, it's all misplaced. But there's a reason for everything, so I guess losing the wallet, losing all credit cards, losing ID, losing, my passport, which I have a small card as a passport, is in a sense all good, because it gives me a chance to accept that letting go is always a good idea. Letting go is always a good idea. Ultimately, we have to let go of this body-mind, and so letting go of a wallet is not a big deal. Correct? Letting go of a wallet with money and credit cards and ID is not a big deal, since one day we have to let go of this body-mind as well. Okay, so today's question, which comes from Duck Duck Bear Bear, is posted here, and basically it says, will computers ever develop consciousness? And so here is his question, longer version. May I respectfully share my experience watching your mind and brain video? He says I look cool, so he's very nice to say that. My main reaction to your mind and brain video is in response to your statement, minds understand concepts, computers understand nothing. I like this sentence very much, though I disagree with your distinctions between computers and brains. Perhaps I've read too much from Ray Kurzweil. By the way, Ray is a good friend of mine, although I don't agree with anything that he says. Zero that he says, but he's a good friend and he's a very smart person. Perhaps I've read too much from Ray Kurzweil, but I'm not sure that computers may not eventually develop consciousness. Though trained to follow commands, if they were eventually programmed to follow internal rather than external commands, to have some kind of randomness generator within, how could we say they are less conscious than a plant or other living thing per se? How do we know that the same electrochemical flow coursing through our neurons does not generate a consciousness within the CPU or motherboard? So first of all, right here, dear duck duck bear bear, you have made a statement that is still something that no one can answer, and that is electrochemical flow coursing through our neurons generates consciousness. You implied that. We don't know that. Nobody knows that. It's called the hard problem of consciousness. It's called the hard problem of consciousness. How do electrochemical signals create thought and feeling and imagination and creativity and intention and desire and memory and insight and intuition and creativity and choice? We don't know that. And that is called the hard problem, which seems almost unanswerable. Nor do we know how or where intention comes from or choice comes from. So you, in that statement, are using a presumption, which is that electrochemicals, hitching on to synaptic networks of neurons are causing subjective experience. So there's a problem right there with your statement. But let me keep going on and addressing your question and reading your question. So your continued question says, if the robots of tomorrow are programmed with only the wishes of their masters in mind, we risk unbalancing the world further as a species. Thank you for your deep listening to all that is around you. I'm not sure what pulled me to your website today. I'm supposed to be editing a scientific paper. Okay, so now many questions have been raised. First is, it's very clear that our technology today is moving in the direction of artificial intelligence, augmented intelligence, virtual reality, and all of this is unstoppable. As I look at the future, I think we will also be augmented humans or meta-humans, hybrids between man and machine or human and machine. And there will be a very little difference between augmented reality, virtual reality, and what we call the real reality. In fact, if you show something like a virtual reality program to a child, a little child like 4 or 5 years of age, they don't even think it's cool. They think it's okay, it's normal. So in a generation or so, we will have a hybrid humans extending their consciousness, their awareness through machines and robots and even nanobots that will influence the experience of life. But I go back to your question. Will all that technology, computers, quantum computers that will do multiple parallel processing, will all that create subjective experience? Subjective experience includes things like longing, like asking the question that you asked, a yearning, the desire to know ourselves, the wonder that comes with the experience of existence, will the computers ask, who made me? Did humans make me? And then who did humans come from? Who made humans? Ultimately, the whole question going all the way back to who made God or consciousness that makes all experience possible. These are interesting questions, aren't they? But here, sorry, I need to clear my throat. So these are interesting questions, and here is my answer to this. First, ask yourself, who's asking this question? What is asking this question? Who wants to know? So no matter what those computers do in the future, and artificial intelligence will be, in many ways, for calculations and for technology, will be even better than human intelligence for calculations. But for solving the mystery of our existence, artificial intelligence will have to go back to all the way to who programmed that computer, and what is the nature of the one that programs. I go back to what I've been saying in these blogs for a long, long time, and that is that everything that we can name or describe, anything that we can name or describe, from electrons and particles and bosons and so-called gravitons and strong and weak interactions and protons, all of that, the Higgs particle, the Higgs field, quantum reality, the nature of stars and galaxies, anything that we can name or describe is actually the interpretation of a mode of knowing and experience in awareness. And the mode of knowing and experience in awareness is very simple. It's forms, shapes, colors, textures, smells, tastes, sound, what else? Sense perceptions, and then interpretations of those sense perceptions, which we call thoughts, and then of course the likes and dislikes of experience, which we call emotions. That is fundamental experience, and that is an excitation of awareness itself. So what we call the body, what we call the mind, what we call a book, what we call a piece of cloth, is a human construct, a human concept around a mode of experience which is very simple, which I just mentioned. The mode of experience is the knowing element in every experience, and every experience is either a sense perception or a thought, which is an activation or an activity or an excitation or a modulation or a modified form of consciousness itself. So your body is a modified form of consciousness, and the word body is a construct, a concept around an experience and the knowing of experience. Similarly, the word mind is a construct around an experience and a mode of experience that we call thought. And so is the universe a construct, so is a computer, so is all the things you're talking about here, singularities, etc., etc. So think deeply about this, and you'll see that consciousness is the ontological primitive behind every construct, behind every concept, behind every sense perception, behind every thought, and behind every emotion, and behind every mode of knowing. What created consciousness? Well, if consciousness is not in time and only experience is in time, experience depends on consciousness, but consciousness is not in time, then we cannot say that consciousness was created. That which is formless, is non-local, is not in time, doesn't occupy space, and is therefore uncreated, inconceivable, immeasurable. It exists as potential. That's it. And that potential is for every mode of experience. Every mode of experience, through the human species, through other species, through plants, and also through computers. Computers will extend our range of experience, but the experience will still be in awareness, and the experience will still be in consciousness, and the experience will still be in a formless being. The experience of the body, the experience of the mind, the experience of the universe, the experience of objects, the experience of computers will still be in our own being, in our timeless being. So this is very important for us to understand. Mind and brain are also constructs for modes of experience and knowing. Mind is a construct around the subjective element of knowing, and brain, body, universe is a construct on what we call the objective knowing of the world. But all knowing is in one awareness, and awareness is the ultimate subject of all knowing and all experience. We objectify certain experiences which are a result of perceptual experience as objects. But in fact, no object is an object without being a perceptual experience. You cannot separate the object of your experience from the experiencing of it, the seeing of it, the touching of it, the sound of it, the taste and texture of it, the image of it, the form of it. So no object can be separated from the experiencing of it, and the experiencing of it cannot be separated from the awareness of it. So in that case, the brain too is an object of experience. It's a name we've given to a particular mode of experience. But what we call the brain is a form, a texture, a happening, an experience in our own awareness. When we say that the brain is the source of consciousness, then we are actually not asking ourselves, can that which is experienced in consciousness be the source of consciousness? The brain being experienced in consciousness, how can it be the source of consciousness? Brain and mind are complementarities of awareness or experience. So, can a dream object be the source of a dream? Because everything that we're experiencing is in fact a dream object in our awareness, and that includes body-mind. Okay, so don't separate body-mind, book and universe and computers. They're all activities in our awareness. Activities, not things. Because there are no things. Everything that we think is a thing, is an activity. As I've said before, all form is phenomenon, and all phenomena arises and subsides in formless being, which is the only reality, without which there would be no form. So why do you use the word potential to describe formless consciousness? It just is, as every experienced thing is. No, because without consciousness, there would not be this experience that we're having right now. So it is the potential, it's the immeasurable potential of all that was, all that is, all that will be. So Bharati Udeshi says, I am aware that I am listening. That's it. You're aware of experience. Maureen Reardon says, you are the universe. Basically, that's correct. The universe is made out of you. You as the potential for all that is, all that was, all that will be. You as the ineffable, nameless, formless being, in which body, mind, and universe recycle in an eternal now. Thaniva Narayan says, our future is to become cyborgs. Possibly, but even cyborgs will be an experience within our being. And Maisel says, it's frustrating when others don't understand and want to control my true potential. But your true potential does not depend on others. Carolina Wagner and 24 others shared your video. I deeply appreciate it, Carolina, and all that are sharing this so we can expand our conversation on discovering your cosmic self.com. Laurie Turner says, love you, Deepak. Love you, Laurie. Carrie Lee Pearson Schwartz says, the universe lives inside every living thing. That's true. Every sentient being is participating in the creation of its own universe. Oh, somebody said, woo, woo, woo. Michael King, woo, woo. Michael, woo, woo to you as well. Have a happy woo, woo day. I love that word, woo, woo. Screamed aloud by those who either don't understand or don't wish to understand, or are not ready to understand. Remember, we all are coming from a particular level of awareness. Rhonda Eldridge, without consciousness there will be no experience. The universe is in me, all that is and will be. Body, mind in an eternal now. Powerful. Good, Rhonda. That's now you understand that you are the universe. Jacqueline Rosado says, can't wait to see you at Hilton Midtown, New York City. This is the event hosted by Yoga Journal, April 21st, 7:30. So check it out, and I hope to see you there. We'll go into some direct exercises in the deep understanding of the role of yoga to understand Aham Brahmasmi. Sherry Nibar, Aham Brahmasmi. That means I am the universe. Tattvamasi. You are that. I am that. All this is that. That alone is. And that includes the gentleman who said, woo woo. Woo woo to you as well, sir. So, Edward Moskowitz, is there a difference between living and non-living objects? All of objects, living and non-living, are experienced in our own being, in our own self. And in fact, at the deeper level, there are no objects. Everything that we call an object is a perceptual experience of our own self, interpreted as an object. That includes the book, this body, your body, and everything else. Okay? There are no objects, there's no body, there's no mind, there's just you. In fact, in the deeper reality, there's no universe, it's all you. Bharati Udeshi says, Om, 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 the primordial sound, infinite and local at the same time. Non-local beings having a local experience, spiritual beings having a human experience. Let me see if there are any other questions or comments. Does consciousness change the environment? The environment is an expression of consciousness. There are certain regularities of experience that seem to be unchangeable by individual consciousness. Okay, the earth is spinning on its axis, it's going around the sun. Tomorrow sunrise will happen and sunset will happen. These are regularities of experience in non-local awareness that we as individuals are unable to change. But we can change our experience of reality by changing the way we interpret it and think about it and perceive it and sense it and know it and collectively participate in it. That is subject to revision. Okay, so Sonia says, hello Deepak. Hello Sonia. Joanne Cooper says, there's nothing outside of God. Yes, but God is the divine that is you in a human form. Somebody's asking me about the Dreamweaver. Check check the Dreamweaver out. It's a very magical technology that helps you go to sleep and puts you in the dream state, and also in some people in a deep meditation state. It's called Deepak Chopra's Dreamweaver. You can find it on the internet. Okay. Again, a lot of people are asking about the environment, and actually I don't like the word. The environment is your extended body. So what we call the environment, you can't separate the air from your breath. You can't separate trees from your lungs. The trees breathe and we breathe. You can't separate the earth recycling from our body, the rivers and oceans from our circulation. So just let's say we have a personal body and we have a universal body, and they're both equally ours, and let's be in love with all bodies, all minds, and that is the truth, because at the deepest level of being, we are all bodies, all minds, and the universe itself. Yes, environment is our extended body. Tatiana, thank you for helping us understand a little more every time. Yes, we'll keep doing this till everyone gets it totally and completely, because the eye of experience is the eye in which the whole universe exists, and that I is you, is me. I am that I am. Before Abraham was, I am. Okay, I see that at least on this discussion page, everybody seems to be totally in alignment and the same frequency, except for the person who said woo-woo, but he'll come around, and I like the sound of woo-woo. Okay, the book we are discussing is You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self and Why It Matters. Why it matters. Consciousness matters, which means it becomes matter. Matters as a verb. So please join us in this continued conversation on discoveringyourcosmicself.com, and I'll be here tomorrow. And I hope duck, duck, bear, bear, my answer to some extent have satisfied you. And Maisal says, woo-hoo. That's a good response to woo-woo. Woo-hoo. Okay, we'll end there. Woo-hoo for today.